Welcome back to part 3 of the Navigation Bar tutorial for Unit 21 of the OCR Nationals. If you remember in our last lesson, we looked at adding drop shadows to our buttons and also adding slices to make sure that we had the rollover effect so that our buttons actually look like buttons and moved when we hovered our mouse over them. Today we're going to add a drop down menu to one of our buttons, and for this one we're going to use the cast button. So making sure you have Fireworks open, select your state for cast and click on the white dot in the middle of the state. Now we're going to select add pop-up menu, and this is where you add the options for your pop-up menu. And for today I'm going to add buck as one of my options, and can't remember the ones that we'd already done, so I'm going to look back at what I've already done on my Unit 21 work. It's Bird, Rinky and Frank. And if you wanted to, you can add a link to another web page here, and the target actually gives you blank self parent on top, and that just refers to what website you'll actually open in. Will it open in the same page? Will it open a new page or a pop-up menu? So now I've added my options that I'm going to show in my drop down menu. Let's just click done and see what that's done for us. If we go to the preview in browser, and you'll see we have a very Windows looking drop down menu. One of the problems is it's covering our button, and the other problem is it doesn't really fit in with our house style. So that's the next thing that we're going to need to amend and fix. So first of all, the positioning. Well, I can simply just click the drop down and move it to where I want it to be positioned. So I want it to appear just underneath my button and in line with the left hand edge. So that's fine. And now I need to edit the look. To do that I can just double click on it and look at appearance. And here I can start to amend how my cells look. So I'm going to choose the cell colour, and actually with the eyedropper tool I'm going to choose one of the colours from my Big Buck Bunny logo, and I want the text to be white so it's the same style as my buttons. And on the overstate I think I'm going to change it to a slightly lighter colour, so maybe I'll go with darker for this one. And I think the text, I'm still happy with white there. I'm going to change the font size up a little bit. I'm going to try going for bold. You can always come back and edit this if we're not quite happy with it. Okay, I can adjust the width of my menu here. I think I'm going to actually look at adjusting that. I'm going to try adjusting that to 150 pixels. See what that's done for me. And I'm going to get rid of borders. I don't want the borders to show. And lastly, position, but we've actually already done that, so we don't need to do any more with that. And as you can see, my navigation bar there has grown quite considerably in width. So let's have a look at how that looks. So I think we've made an improvement there. It certainly fits in with the colour scheme. Perhaps the bold wasn't a good idea because it doesn't really fit in with the font that we've got in the buttons. And I think it's probably a little bit too wide still. So we'll go back and correct that. So how am I going to get it the right width? Well, let's hide the slices. Let's click on one of our buttons. And we'll see that my buttons are 80 pixels wide. So I'm going to show the slices again and go back and edit my navigation bar, pop-up menu. And I'm going to change the cell width to 80 pixels. So it's exactly the right width of my button. And I'm going to change the font from being bold just to being standard. And I'm going to click done. And let's have a look at how that looks. And there we go. We have a pretty effective navigation bar with drop down menus. If we look, when we move our mouse away from the drop down, it stays there for quite a while of time, and we can adjust that number. So we'll go back and edit it, so we'll double click it, and we'll go to advanced, and you'll see this menu delay 1000 milliseconds. So that means that it stays there for about a second even after you move the mouse away. So if we reduce that number down, say 200, and click Done. Again, we'll have to preview it in the browser. And now you'll see we move away and it disappears a lot more quickly.